Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. And this might be a little confusing, but we're going to recess the public meeting and we are going to open a public meeting in regards to the ATI charter renewal. Is there anyone here to speak specifically on the ATI charter renewal?
Good evening. Summer Brandon, Director at Armadillo Tech. I'm here to answer any questions that you or anyone else may have. And I believe we may have a staff member in our meeting as well.
Great, welcome. Yeah, so just so everyone knows, this is required by law. Whenever a charter school is up for renewal, you have to have a public meeting before the board. I think we got a wonderful presentation from ATI at our last meeting. But if anyone has anybody on the board has any questions for Summer? Go ahead.
It's like green. Yeah, it's got green right here in the front. Jeez, sorry, I missed a week. Missed one. I just wanted to say that I was able to watch the JAB meeting after the fact because I was out of town, and I want to say I appreciate your presentation and all of the points that you offered and the depth that you offered to us, because sometimes it's kind of an unknown thing of what goes on down the street down there. But I just wanted to say that I'm really grateful for all your hard work and also your staff and how that's going there. So that's really all I have to say about that.
Thank you, Polly. Anything else? Okay, we will now close the public meeting for ATI. I'm sorry. Oh, did we have? Yes. Go ahead. Please introduce yourself if you may. I see you have Brian written there, but we can never trust those things. Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Brian Pike. I'm an instructor at ATI, and I just wanted to stand up and say I support ATI and alternative schools in general, and I appreciate a chance to be heard. And I just wanted to get on record that I'm big thumbs up for ATI. Thank you.
And thank you. And Brent and I did the walkthrough a few weeks ago, and it was really awesome and informative. And we got to walk through your class, Brian, and see the kids making some pretty cool stuff. So it was great. So kudos to you, and thanks for being here tonight. All right.
Thank you much.
Yeah. Anything else? Okay. Now we will close the public meeting for ATI Charter, and we will open another public hearing for our annual student investment account. And I'll turn it to Brent, who I think is going to turn it to Tiffany. So. Perfect.
I can, or I can just explain it. And you have in your packets just some of the review. So as you know, with our student investment account, this is our annual report from last school year and where we spent the funds. So a lot of the student investment account comes from community, family, staff engagement, and our decisions made from that engagement. So we used surveys with our staff, family members, and our students, listening sessions. So with the feedback, that includes high school students, by the way, for listening sessions and focus groups, and then empathy interviews. And so with every group that we engaged with, the number one priority for the SIA was health and safety. And that included mental health by far, significantly. Next up was well-rounded education, followed by extended learning opportunities, and then reduced class sizes with the buckets. So in your package, you can see where we spent the funds. For those, we also surveyed our families to see, and our students, our high school students, what activities they participated in that were funded by SIA. And overwhelmingly, a lot of our families, the instructional assistants in K1 impacted a lot of families. And then next up was really mental health support, La Clinica support, and then music education. So that's where we had a lot of priorities there. So I have put where the funds were. The majority of our funds were spent then for instructional assistance, which was reducing class size in our primary grades, followed by La Clinica, and at the time, Family Solutions to provide mental health professionals in every building. We now this year have La Clinica in all of our buildings. So the mental health support at the high schools through La Clinica. And then our other staffing, our elementary music teachers would be up there. So really aligning our spending with the priorities of our community and our families. This year, as we go into student investment accounts, we'll be joining with the integrated guidance for our SIA will join in with high school success and our targeted schools for improvement and comprehensive schools for improvement and some other things that I'm blanking on right now. Brent can help. So we'll be doing our engagement starting next month, but we've already done some surveys. Any questions on 2021, 22 SIA?
My question's on next year. Can I ask it? I know last year we couldn't do it because, oh, by the way, I've been on the SIA committee. So last year we couldn't do in-person surveys and engagement. Are we planning to do in-person ones this year?
We are. That's a good question. And I will thank you, Dawn and like Nancy. We've had board members on our student investment account committee. Thank you for that. Last year, because of the pandemic and cohorting, we had virtual meetings and that wasn't as well attended as our in-person in the past. We did do in-person for our high school students, however, and so we did have some in-person last year. This year, surveys, of course, will be digital, sent out with family engagement surveys and such, but we plan on in-person listening sessions and focus groups again. And then we do, like I said, empathy interviews. Those are really for our more delicate focus groups, like our families experiencing houselessness or other like categories, incarcerated youth that we need to keep more private.
One comment I might add, Tiffany alluded to this a little bit, but kind of moving from the student investment account team to a strategic planning team, especially with the integrated guidance that's due for us this year. It really encapsulates everything we do. And so really kind of transitioning that team to more of the strategic planning because our strategic plan is up this year and looking forward to building a new one to set us up for success in the future.
And if I can highlight too, our partnership with La Clinica has been amazing. I thank the board and the community for that. We were able to, after 2 years of investing through the student investment account for our elementary and our middle schools, with that, those programs are now self-sustaining. So La Clinica serves every student, whether they have private insurance or OHP or no insurance. And you know, we paid the difference basically, but they're really up and running to where we don't need to pay in for those services at our elementary and middle school. And that's why we were able then to take those funds and focus on the high school with that. And we imagine there'll be self-operational funding in a few years as well. So it's a really good investment that helps us in the long term and expand those programs.
Tiffany, thank you for leading all this and all this feedback. I remember February, right before we shut down for COVID, we did a lot of outreach and then presented to the school board. And so I'm hopeful that that'll be the feeling this year when we have in-person outreach. I do want to let you know, some of you guys may, where does this money come from? It's actually carved out for kind of a business tax that was approved by the voters, and it is fairly sustainable. But I want to caution about when we go into the legislative, we'll talk about this a little more in financials. Some people think this student investment account is part of the state school fund and it should be included. This was sold as above and beyond separately to the state school fund. So I want to make sure we're clear on that and that funding. through our ADM security, we do SIA and Measure 98 funds were included in that. So we get those funds that allow us to do even more of these similar activities for that.
I have a quick question. What do you think our areas of growth could be moving forward, like in next year?
Areas of growth would be expanding services with La Clinica. That really came out with the high school students. About 30% of them were last year going to the elementary school to access some services, but a lot had said in listening sessions that they were missing the bus or they had like other activities that they couldn't do. So we do have some services, but just a few days a week. We have a provider at the high school our mental health provider is there 5 days a week, but just one therapist is not nearly enough that we need. We also need more support than at our middle schools. With that, their caseloads just fill up too fast. So expanding that would be very important. And then, like I said, next up was music education. So we do have our music education at the elementary schools, but now we're going to have more kids interested in. So supporting performing arts and fine arts, expanding that program too. I think that's what our community will be continuing to ask for.
I was going to ask about, La Clinica, if somebody's there every day and what that looks like for students and, our ability to provide care in a timely fashion. I'm thinking it would be probably good to have a La Clinica program report at some point. I don't know if we have that on the calendar at all. But that's just, as you were talking, I think that would be something the board would love to learn more about and understand how we can, what's going well and how we can support improving upon that in the future. So, yeah.
It's funny to say that, Chairman Campbell, but Elise Travertini, who heads La Clinica, and I have been doing presentations virtual with some state organizations. Phoenix Talent Schools was highlighted in the Oregon Department of Education's promising practices recently, but we have failed to present to our own school board. So we really should.
Yeah, we'd love to see that and hear more about it. So I'll work with Brent and Denise, and that sounds good to everybody. Yeah, it'll be good for the board to see. Thank you. Any other questions on SIA? Okay, thank you so much. That public hearing is now closed. We'll resume our regular meeting. And the next agenda item is accentuate the positive. And that would normally be Heather, since we're at Talent Elementary, but we're going to welcome Tiffany back to the podium.
Sorry, I'm going to need to read Heather's email because I did not pre-read it. Thank you, Chairman. Heather would like to first give her apologies for not being here, especially with the meeting being at Talent Elementary School, but she is at the law conference. She wanted to mention that principals and our family engagement leaders met with Sherry Wilson. She's from Scholastic to review our district and building assessment on family engagement. We all left with thorough reports full of great ideas to carry this work forward. Trying to exude Heather's positivity when she says it, but she's really good at that. Our newly designed conferences went really well. Thanks to the teachers for embracing this innovative approach to parent meetings. We're eager to evaluate student performance at the end of the year to determine if our efforts are having a positive impact on student success. And finally, next Tuesday, we will have a winter music concert, and we hope you all can attend. It will be at Talent Middle School at 6:30. So next Tuesday, 6:30. Miss Savage and our little musicians have been busily practicing for the performance. Be prepared to be wowed by their skills and cuteness.
Thank you so much.
Hello, Brandon Hammond, Orchard Hill Elementary. Just a few items go along with the winter concert theme. Our concert is tomorrow, 5:30. You are all invited. We also are going to be starting a newspaper at the school. We had a couple students present this to me. We were able to make it so we could get a targeted group and then get some support from staff. So I'm really excited about that. The other thing is we had Central School District come and visit Orchard Hill to look at our hugs or regulation program. That was really cool. I know we've talked about that Phoenix Talent is going to be a model, and it really is kind of, you trickle down. I mean, word gets out and people just want to come and visit. So just what has been done is very neat. The other thing is, so we have, you guys know, we've purchased a home and we're getting ready in preparation so we can move in. And part of that is, you know, painting and doing carpet. Well, before you can paint in some homes, there is a thing called wallpaper that was very popular back in the day. And this particular house was really into wallpaper. So we've been taking off layers and layers of wallpaper, and it is extremely time consuming. There's a very, you know, process heavy that you have to do that, spray it, scrape it. Anyway, in order for this to happen, it really is, my wife is working nonstop. Our father-in-law is there working. We have our children going, and when I can break away, then I go and help. And it's just amazing the progress that we've seen because of the effort. And I want to connect that to our leadership teams. We had our leadership meeting yesterday, and it just hit me that the staff members are just all in. They are absolutely engaged in whether it's family engagement, academic, we have a wellness, we have a safety committee, PBIS, which is our positive behavior, and they're just all in. It is an hour long, sometimes a little longer, of devoted effort of trying to help support students. And it just hit me, and then it's just all connected to wallpaper right now. So thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Hopefully that's done for you by next December.
Good evening. My name is Catherine Holden. I'm the principal of Talent Middle School. It's nice to be here tonight. I have a lot of positives. I'm going to go fast, but I do feel like the last 3 weeks have been exceptionally more settled and smoother than the beginning of the year. And I'm feeling really, really encouraged by that. One of our assistant principals, Allison Haas, does a lovely job of writing these up. So I do want to actually read what she wrote because she just had a lot of energy for it this morning. First highlight is that Talent Middle School, the scavenger hunt team, won the SOU Youth Programs Middle School Scavenger Hunt this week. So top in the region. Students spent 3 days working hard to solve questions at TMS and then went to SOU this week to present their findings, and they won first place. Congratulations to the team. And a huge thank you to scavenger hunt coach Sandra Tringalo, who spent many, many hours planning the event, supporting students with the research and ensuring the win. Also, thank you to Richard Bird, Karen Emmons, and many other staff who spent time supporting these students. Then a big thank you for the support of Chelsea Winner and the students at the PTS Rising Transition Program. So they're coming over on Wednesdays and running our Bulldog Student Rewards store, which is now open. And we're really grateful for Chelsea and the incredible PTS Rising students for coming over every Wednesday to do this and provide excellent customer service. And we're looking forward to some fun spirit days coming up, thanks to the planning of our community leadership students and Iris Moya. She's the teacher for that program, and we're really starting to see that presence of leadership from our students. She's also leading her students in putting on very successful hygiene product collection for Hearts with a Mission. And so a real strong partnership there with that community organization. And where we have a guest speaker who's coming next week from Hearts with a Mission, so we can really continue to understand how we can partner and serve the youth in our valley. Lastly, the boys basketball season is wrapping up, and our 8th grade varsity team has gone completely undefeated. And the 8th grade JV and 7th grade varsity teams are also having winning seasons. And all 4 of the teams won last night. So that was really exciting. Thank you to our coaches, Manny Crump, Misty Hutzel, Gary Freeman, and David Alvarez, and our athletic director, Derek Rodman, for a successful season. And then the last highlight, I just couldn't help myself, but we had a newer to Talent Middle School student was talking to our nurse, Carrie McDonald, the other day. And this student has been at, I think, 7 other schools, K through now. And they said that of all those schools, this is the best school that they've been at. And that's because the teachers are really nice, the students are nicer, and the drinking fountains work and the water tastes good. and the teachers don't pile on the homework. So I thought that was a really good report from a student who is obviously knows schools and has been at quite a few. They were feeling like this is one of the best experiences they've had. So that was super exciting to hear that things are feeling good to that new student. So thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. Dave Earhart, Phoenix High School. At the sake of pandering to the school board, we'll start with DECA tonight. Polly, yeah. And our DECA kids and Celine put on a great event last weekend. We've had a winter formal dance in the gym with our new sound system there. We had a great guest DJ. Michael, thank you very much. And then that group went and turned around earlier this week and went over to Klamath Falls. 16 of them competed and did a wonderful job. Lots of smiles, lots of ribbons there, a lot of really good things. We are really busy right now, and we are pleased with that. People calling today, somebody called, they want to book the theater for a week and a half in February. Right now, we have a ballet company in there, youth ballet. Sometimes we have to think, what's our own activities in there just to protect that space. So it's really neat how everything's turned out. Tracy Koa, one of our teachers of our Compass program, she's also our bowling coach, and we have a growing bowling team. So last weekend they competed. Building an equestrian program that Jessica Rollins is working on. So we've got, I think it's up to 6 kids taking part in that. So we're really excited about that. Last weekend, boys basketball raised nearly $5,000 with a crowdsourced fundraiser in 1 hour. There's a lot more work that went on both sides of it, but 1 hour of work. So that was really neat. Girls basketball recently bagged groceries at Ray's in Phoenix, made $800. And one of the parents donated a ton of time, took pictures of the kids, made a really neat poster that's going to start moving around the community. They found 30 sponsors and raised over $3,000 for that. So really good thing. Wrestling had its tournament last weekend and raised over $1,000. Peyton will talk more about an event that will benefit wrestling. Swimming. First meet ever for Mr. Ford as the coach, and they blew a serpentine belt on the way there, but they made it in time. And the meet wasn't going to start without us because we had the timing equipment with us. So it turned out just fine. But last month over Thanksgiving, they did their annual recycling drive, filled over 150 garbage bags of recyclables. So really neat stuff. Right now we have 27 clubs at the high school. We added Rummy Cube this last week. But the neat thing is the kids are coming up with so many ideas. There are not many high schools in the state with a paranormal club right now. So we've got a lot of fun things. And our color guard group continues to grow. We've got 19 kids in there. Maggie Taylor Cheek, a graduate of the school, is doing a wonderful job bringing kids into that, and they'll perform couple times this year at basketball and at our district wrestling meet that we will host later in the winter. So lots of things going on the pirate ship. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Dave. Amy, did you want to add to we got your amazing menus in our packets, but
I can't go without giving credit to my second dietetics intern here. Julia made those for us. So our Thanksgiving meal went off with a hit. It was so fun. Had, probably about a 10% increase in our daily meals that day. So we're hoping similar things for the kids and teachers for the winter holiday meal. We'll be doing that next week. And yes, Julia highlighted some of the featured items on that menu. So of course the holiday menus are always near and dear to my heart because it's where I get to go a little off of regional menus and put a little creativity in there. So yeah, we're just kind of plugging and chugging along in food service, and we've just really appreciated getting to see all the kids here as it gets colder, more and more come in to us, and we like seeing their smiling faces. So thank you.
thank you so much. Anything from the board on accentuate the positive? Go ahead.
I did get to try the pumpkin apple parfait. It was super delicious, and I see there's another parfait on here. Yeah, so kudos to oh, look at that. Yeah. Yeah, it's totally fine. Yeah. But I attended the City of Phoenix tree lighting ceremony and was really excited to see the executive director of the Ashland Community Health Foundation. And they supported the lights on both the City of Talent and City of Phoenix trees this year. And I was talking to their executive director, and she was saying how their foundation is now supporting things like nursing in our school and funding for La Clinica. So I just really appreciated all of the tie-in of sources of funding, and then having a community event where then you run into those people and you can hear more other than just, not just, but in the school setting. It's nice to be out in the community and see all of those things come together. So when you see the lights on the trees in our community, they're supporting things in our schools.
I have something. I just can't like let it go, but I got to spend some time with decorating for the winter formal and being at the winter formal. I want to say thank you to Michael for doing the DJing at that event. And also spent time with the DECA group, driving them to Klamath and coming back. And I want to say how proud I am, and it makes me emotional, of our students at the high school and how they show up and how they came together and put that dance together. It was really amazing. And then to see how so we had, I don't know, 16 or 18, Selena will correct me every time, how many kids we took over to Klamath, but 11 of them had never competed in DECA before. 7 of them were up on the stage getting recognized for first or second or third place. And just the way they support each other and encourage each other and are there and can complete tasks is just incredible. And I'm so proud to be a graduate of that same high school.
Okay, we're all having something. So it seems like a long time ago, but a few weeks ago, Michael and I came to Talent Elementary School and we did the coffee cart for the staff, and it was such a fun thing. We ended up, Heather's so smart, we ended up going at recess, so we were able to chat with the teachers for a little bit. Lovely conversations. I'm going to put a plug that they're going to do another coffee cart in February, if you'd like to do it, and May 4th. May 4th is going to be May the 4th be with you day. So if you're a Star Wars fan like me, I've already signed up for that day because I get to dress up and be a geek. So if anyone else loves to, and gosh, I'm so excited to see the kids dress up. So also, I got a call tonight from Miss Bolstad, and her class is doing the gingerbread making houses as a tradition here at Talent Elementary School. My kids, I asked her all these questions because I had been the class mom for many years. So at 9:30 on, shoot, I didn't write the date down. I think it's Wednesday. Oh, look on my phone. She invited us to her classroom if anyone would like to come. It's 9:45. I believe it's Wednesday. I'll double check before the meeting's over. And you can drop in. It's going to be her class and Miss Wolf's class making gingerbread houses. And the kindergartners are so cute. It's a little messy, so you may not want to step back or wear clothes that you don't care if they have frosting on them when you're done. So I just wanted to open the invitation to everybody. I will be there.
Thank you so much. Anything else from the board? All right. We will move on to student representative report, and we have Peyton with us tonight. Thanks for being here, Peyton, and we'll turn it to you.
Hi. So like Mr. Earhart was saying, this Saturday, the Phoenix High School Wrestling team is sponsoring the first annual flea market and craft fair at the high school. There's going to be free parking, free admission, lots of fun stuff. There's 52 booths in total, and out of 10 of those, estimating 10 or more are going to be run by Phoenix alumni. And there's going to be some food trucks. Kona Ice is going to be there, a taco truck, and the boosters are going to be selling concessions as well. And it's just another great way for the community to get involved with the high school that Breezy Chapman and Amberly Batten have organized. And our annual giving tree has been going really well. There's only like 6 or so tags left in like the whole front office. The one side's just nothing but gifts. And it's just been so cool to see all the high schoolers wanting to help other kids in the district. we've had some boba sales for our Sparrow Anthony. That went really well. Like kids love the boba. It sold out in like 3 days, and now they're doing candy bar sales, and that's already been picking up. The leadership kids have been going on with their second boxes by now, and they just started a couple days ago. And tomorrow we get to start our hallway competition for Spirit Points, where each class gets designated a hallway and they get it decorated under the supervision of some staff members. And the freshmen and the seniors have already started planning for theirs. So that's going to be exciting to see. And then next week we have our fun Spirit Week and assembly to kick everything off. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Any questions for Peyton? No. Well done. Great report. Okay. We will move to citizens' comments. Do we have anyone in the audience who wishes to address the board? I don't think so. Okay. I don't see anyone online unless Joe wants to chime in, but probably not. Okay. So we'll move to the superintendent report.
Thank you, Chairman Campbell. As you can see, we're a little light on administrators here today. We do have a number of them out at the law conference. We do have a band concert across the street. Illness is going through a little bit. We've been hanging in there though. And we have one, the best excuse ever is officiating an NFL game tonight. So, but yeah, thank you for those who shared it. I know it's a busy time. Just in your blue folders, we have the out-of-state trips. We don't necessarily need to approve those anymore, but we need to present them. Looks like one was added for wrestling to Etna. And speaking of trips, you will see a weekly first student report. Janelle started doing those last year, which is really nice. We can see where we are with how many drivers we're short. We're still down 6 drivers. But I will commend her on consolidating and really keeping our schedules and getting kids to and from school, especially over the last couple of weeks where they've had some illness run through their department as well. I also want to thank you for supporting me. I was not at the last meeting in November, public meeting, because I was in a superintendent forum in Washington, D.C., and I got a chance to attend another one last weekend. It's mostly funded through these other groups. But I will tell you, when I go to those conferences and speak to my colleagues across the country, it just makes me, more proud to be in this district and with a supportive board with amazing kids and families. I mean, you just heard a half hour of amazing things that are going on. And, I, for one, will never take that for granted because I know that's very, very special. Also, it's just really interesting to see kind of what the trends are. I think really people are really looking about how public education serves now and ripe to really be creative and move the dial and move forward in how we serve our kids and families. And we have already been on the forefront of that. And I think we can really do some things structurally and design wise to continue to do that if the funding allows us to. So look forward to talking a little bit more about that. You may have remember Maeve from Rogue Climate that was talking about the solar panels, and she asked the board to support some efforts. They did some analysis through a grant that they received in the around the Talent area, and really the best option for that project is our schools. And so John and I met with Maeve and Eleanor, who's on the city council last week, and they are shared their analysis and what they would like to see in the proposal, and really the energy benefits and the sustainable energy that includes emergency battery backups as well in light of a major event that could happen and will happen again. And it's really exciting. There could be funding opportunities, more funding than there's ever been for the project. It just happens to be fantastic timing because Talent Elementary and Talent Middle School are the last bond projects for seismic that we have, so we can incorporate that in with it. Just really excited about what she had to share and just the knowledge she has on on the solar panels and how it can benefit our schools. Not only just with energy savings and dollars, but also just some opportunity in case of another disaster in our community. We'll continue to share as we get close to looking at finalizing some of those projects and applying for the next round of funding that may be coming along. I will tell you the upcoming legislative session is going to be a really big challenge for the state school fund. Been in talks with consultant and advocate Greg Lemhouse. Some of you guys may remember Greg Lemhouse from the bond work. He really got us across the finish line and really appreciate his support in that. And we're looking at possibly partnering with him as he is a voice for our district in the legislature that is specific to Phoenix talent, because oftentimes our advocates in the School Boards Association or our administrative association lean to North Oregon type initiatives. And you know, that doesn't fit every school district. So looking to partner with him and get in contract with him to see if he can help support us in ensuring that our district and our region is heard on a lot of different issues that are going to be coming up. So looking forward to kind of sharing more about that. And finally, I want to share Rick and I know Rick wasn't able to be there at the site of this meeting that we had with Medford School District was at the facilities department, which is not easy to find. But the reason we wanted to meet with them is they're looking at a Marshall program, which is kind of an offshoot of the school resource officer program. It's an opportunity for to maximize the number of law enforcement trained adults in our building. And in light of Uvalde, and we've had some conversations with this board about how we can have more of just a presence in our buildings, because right now we're focused part-time at the middle school and full-time at the high school, but they're also city employees. And so they get called out on some other things that the city may need them for. But this is a program that we really, I think, and under Rick's kind of persistent leadership of trying to find a way to provide safety for all our schools. I'm hopeful that we can have something in place, if not this spring, by the start of the new school year, to have more of a presence in safety overlooking our kids. So I look forward to kind of sharing more about that too. That's all I have.
Thank you, Brent. Any questions for Brent? All right, we will move to the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you so much. Moved by Dawn, seconded by Sarah. Any objections? Okay, hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. We will move to action items. In the first action item is board policy GCQB regarding research. Motion to approve this policy, and then we'll have time for discussion.
I move that policy GCQB is adopted as presented.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Moved by Sarah, seconded by Dawn. Any discussion on this? Did you get your question answered, Sarah, about who owns the research? from
I
last time?
didn't know, but
Okay. We
Okay.
own the research. There you go. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, we will vote. Rebecca,
Yes.
Polly,
Yes.
Rick? Nancy,
yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Dawn?
Yes.
I vote yes. That action item is passed. Next is board policy GDA, instructional assistance.
I move that policy GDA is adopted as presented.
Okay, any second? Thank you. Moved by Polly and seconded by Rick. Discussion on this one?
This is the policy that I had asked about the language in it around, wait, is it this one? Yes. Around, including interpretation to this, because translation, it's written from one language to the next. Interpretation, it's the oral communication between one language to the next. And, we thank you, Denise, for reaching out and trying to get clarification. And I am unsure if there's clear understanding between the differentiation of these. I can understand that maybe by utilizing the word interpretation might lead some people to believe that it's talking about interpreting what the rules say or what the people are doing versus the transfer from one language to the next.
Yeah, and I just want to take this opportunity to thank you, Nancy, because I think you've educated all of us on this difference. And I dug into this too, based on your question, and the conclusion I came to, I think there's a couple things happening with this particular language. But I also wonder if there's not an opportunity to educate the state legislative body on the difference between translation and interpretation. This paragraph was taken directly from the statute,
Right.
which is really interesting. The other thing I'll say is, as I'm not a lawyer, but I wanted to be one, so. But it's interesting because, Nancy's helped us understand that they're related, but they really are two different things. And so the way I interpreted this language is it's talking specifically about translation services and not the other. And it's saying when we're doing this specific thing, which is translating, these qualifications need to happen. But again, I think it's a good opportunity to, first of all, thank you for educating us on the difference, because Brent and I were talking about it the other day. It's made a difference in I think we're starting to hear Nancy's voice every time this subject comes up, and
There
making
is
sure
hope.
that, yes. But I think this warrants, there's an awareness now, and I think we can educate our legislators on the difference and make sure that when we're writing laws that we are writing them in deference to honoring that difference and making sure that we're serving students and families in the most comprehensive way possible. So I thank you for that.
Michael, it's interesting that as you're explaining this, you said, I interpreted this to mean. No pun intended. And I understand. I think interpretation and translation gets used interchangeably all the time, while there is a differentiation, and it is important simply for that reason, right? When we're talking about written material versus oral material, not understanding or explanation of material, which is different also. That was my discussion.
Okay, thank you. It's good discussion. Good learning through this process too. Any other? Okay, we will take it to a vote. Rebecca,
Yes.
Polly,
Yes.
Rick, Nancy,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion passes. We'll move to board policy IGBHE, expanded options program.
I move that policy IGBHE is adopted as presented.
Thank you.
Well, second.
Thank you. Moved by Polly, seconded by Don. Any discussion on this one? Yeah. Fairly straightforward, pretty relatively minor changes. Okay, we'll take it to a vote. Rebecca,
Yes.
Polly,
Yes.
Rick, Nancy,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion passes. IGDJ, interscholastic activities. Who's the next one?
I move that policy IGBJ is adopted as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay, moved by Dawn, seconded by Polly. Any discussion on this?
Discussion.
Yeah.
And perhaps Dave can answer this one. Oregon School Activities Association, they've eliminated that language and is that correct? Yeah, I just wondered why.
Can you clarify that or?
I think they've just expanded that. They still go by Oregon School Activities Association.
It's still,
Yeah, yeah.
right.
I think it's because organizations and names of organizations can change and this moves it to a more broad definition to encompass. But I don't think there's any plans for that to happen anytime soon. It's my understanding. Any other discussion? Okay. I'm gonna go a different order. Don,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes,
Polly,
Yes.
Rebecca.
Yes.
Okay, I vote yes, motion passes. Policy IKF, graduation requirements. Motion,
I move that policy IKF is adopted as presented.
I'll second it.
thank you. Moved by Rebecca, seconded by Polly. Any discussion on this one? This is just a statutory language change. Okay. Don,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Nancy, Rick,
yes,
Polly,
Yes.
Rebecca.
Yes.
I vote yes, motion passes. This one's exciting. Vote for OSBA Board of Directors, position 5, and our esteemed colleague Dawn is running for to retain her seat on the OSBA board. Have a motion?
I move that I move the board cast their vote for Don Watson for OSBA Board of Directors position 5.
I second that.
All right, moved by Rebecca, seconded by Polly. Any discussion?
All to say thank you so much for voting for me. I appreciate it. And hopefully I win.
I would just like to say that Dawn's work and her predecessor, Craig, who served on the OSBA board for a long time, has really helped position Phoenix talent in a very important place throughout the state. And so we appreciate all your work, Dawn, on the OSBA and PACE board, and our region is well represented with you serving in this capacity. So with that, we'll take it to a vote. Rebecca,
Yes.
Holly,
Wholeheartedly, yes.
Rick,
yes,
Nancy,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Dawn.
I'll abstain.
Okay, I vote yes. Motion passes. We look forward to hearing the results of that. Yes. Okay.
I'll know. I'll know on December 15th, and I'm waiting
December 15th.
because I have a PACE meeting in Orlando that I have like
Yeah.
I scheduled only the hotel and not the thing in case I didn't win.
Sure.
So I need to know soon.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I look forward to hearing. Okay, so the next, this is OSBA resolution to adopt the OSBA legislative priorities and principles as recommended by the Legislative Policy Committee. And so do I have a motion for this one?
I move to adopt the resolution for the OSBA legislative priorities and principles as recommended by the Legislative Policy Committee as presented. I second that.
Thank you. Moved by Sarah, seconded by Nancy. Any discussion?
Just so everyone, we're voting on this, but this is also becoming kind of a living document instead of something that gets updated every year. So this is something that we'll just continue to move forward. And then more of a work plan will be put into place based on what individual bills are coming through the legislature. So this is kind of a framework for the overall work.
And it's something that OSBA board talks about all the time. It's always, it's always in discussion. I think we've talked about it twice in the last 2 or 3 meetings.
Okay. Take it to a vote. Rebecca,
Yes.
Polly,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Dawn.
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion passes. Next item is recess. Would everyone like a bio break? Okay, we'll recess for 10 minutes. We'll be back here, or 9 minutes. Be back here at 7. Thank you. Back. And next we have information and discussion. And the first item is a facilities and bond update.
Yeah, just real quick, John is out ill, but just spoke about the last few bond projects here in Talent, and then the opportunity to maximize some of the sustainable energy grants that are coming up. And I think another exciting thing that we spoke to Maeve about is we build out Culver and partnering with some solar options there as well. So some good things ahead. That's all I have.
Excellent. Any questions on facilities? All right, financial update. You have a report in your packet and in front of you, printed as well. Yeah, I asked Denise to, yeah, you're welcome. I'll just take credit there. See how I did that? You okay? Okay. Any questions on the financial report?
As we go through the spring, we will start doing some longer term projections as well, to where we have this year and what we anticipate, and then we'll start doing the next probably the next biennium, and maybe even the biennium after that, just to kind of show you the impact of some of the dollars and the things we have coming up.
One thing I'll point out, first of all, it's incredible. It's a testament to Yasmin and her team, how close the adopted budget and the projection are at this juncture, which is very impressive. But in case you're wondering, and maybe you could clarify this, Brent, but one of the first questions I had is, oh, wow, the beginning fund balance is far off from our current projection. Is that because of the way the ADM security came through?
Yeah, and we're still actually doing dealing with that. They released last year's funds. They haven't released this year's funds, but that's what it has to do, and that's how we have to report it essentially on the financial report.
Any questions on this? Okay. Legislative OSBA update. I have a feeling you have some news to share. Go ahead.
Well, you know, I know sausage is being all put together and it doesn't look good until the very end when you eat it. That's kind of what this last 10 days or so I felt like. So if you look, Denise probably was the gem that she is, an updated If you looked at this previously, it looked different than this afternoon. So the new date for Meet the Legislator is Tuesday, January 3rd, instead of Wednesday. And believe it or not, between Wednesday and Tuesday date, there was actually a Saturday date thrown out there. So I apologize for the presentation that we've done to our local legislators as we try to get this this all planned. But we think that this will be the date that works to start establishing some relationships with the newer elected representatives, because they had a training that they were going to be traveling for, and just really starting the foundation of building those relationships early on, which is what drove this date craziness. So here we are, and please mark your calendars. And we spoke to John Barber about including our culinary arts program. So now with the state change, we'll circle back around. And it looks like Grants Pass High School had offered some music for the social time. So we're looking forward to not only have time to highlight our programs, but also to really develop and build relationships before they head off to session. So here it is in the works, happening. And you'll see some more information coming through with like RSVP through Denise, probably first part of next week. So check your email for that, because we're going to utilize the board secretary combination. Because believe it or not, admins are not included in the OSBA region, email my region tool, which was something new, another learning curve. So anyway, we hope that as much as our board will be able to attend, and the legislators as well.
Wonderful. Thank you. Go ahead.
I have something. There was talk about like having a one cohesive message. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
Thank you, Polly. So we watched your email. We're going to be sending out probably like a Survey Monkey on what your top priorities are. We're guessing the number one priority. Well, we'll probably make it the number one priority. It's going to be funding. And then the other two priorities, and we'll want a consistent message. And we're going to ask, well, at least last time we talked about it, we were going to ask schools to have short stories on their that match the three top priorities. So funding would be easy. You know, we're doing the culinary arts. This program is funded through CTE, and you know, this would be a program that, and we asked the teacher to give us an example of a student that is thriving in the program. So that's something that's going to be sent out to all the districts. It's going to be the other two priorities, and some think of stories so that you can present them that night of the importance of these programs and the likelihood they'd be cut if the funding was not there. Does that make sense?
I'm just grateful for all the work that you guys have done with this and trying to get this moving, and I really appreciate both of you.
It's mostly Sarah. She has been the rock star, and
We learn new tools. We've done so many things.
oh my goodness, yeah, she yeah.
And how we'll do it better next year.
I said that today. Well, we've learned a lot for next year. And she goes, you mean we're doing this next year? And I was like, well, I was hoping it was going to be successful and we would want to do it next year. But yeah, so Sarah's been doing most of it. I've just been her backup person and answering her phone calls and oh yeah, other OSBA stuff. I apologize. It has been a blur. It's been like OSBA, LPC, PACE, and finance. Like the last 2 weeks I've been to all those meetings and it's a blur. So if you have any questions on any of those things, just ask me. But I don't really have an update on them because I can't remember, honestly.
Well, thank you so much. And this is a tremendous act of herding cats that you are embarking upon. And I really, really appreciate it. To echo Polly's sentiment. Do we have a sense of the participation we'll get from these member schools and the legislators that we've invited?
Well, Grants Pass has reached out that they were interested, and when we talked to different Medford specifically was really excited to participate as a board in coming. And I did hear back from, we invited Summer, and she had one of her board coming, but they're the one email, and I was hoping she might, Sarah might be able to talk to her. So they still think it's Wednesday, the 4th. So hopefully they'll still be able to come on the 3rd. And tentatively, this date was best for Representative-elect McIntyre and Representative Morgan. And so we're hopeful that, who was the other one? Christine Goodwin, Representative Goodwin, was also one of the newer elected that had the conflict of travel on the 4th or training on the 5th. So we're hopeful, like I said, to get newer and at least representation from, someone from each district. So Central Point had indicated at the convention that they were interested in participating, at least attending. I shouldn't say participating and attending. So we'll know more once we get the RSVP out.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Excited for that.
And
Okay.
now I hear you'll be able to
Yeah,
attend.
yeah, I
so-
will. Yeah.
so-
So the date change, I wasn't gonna dare suggest we change the date for me, but but I'm thankful that I'll be able to go now. So yes. Okay, equity, diversity, and inclusion. Would anyone like to give a report?
I thought you were gonna speak, so I was waiting for you, but you reached for your computer for your. That's okay. We met on November 17th, and I am really grateful for the work that Kelly is doing as we're learning and growing in this space. We had quite a few new folks come and participate. I think we're figuring out which times and getting people really onboarded into this process. I'm grateful for the diverse representation of schools. I think that there's potential for possibly more. And in our last meeting in November, we were really tasked to look at the equity policy that we have approved. And the general response from the folks participating was that the policy sounds great and very inspirational, but it might be lacking some more of tangible, concrete steps on how we do this. And so we have looked at a couple of different equity policies from different school districts. And we were starting to jot down what it is that we would like to have included in ours particular, especially with some more, again, concrete, measurable, actionable words. And really what was missing is, or some of the suggestions that people have suggested that gets added into this policy is measurable input from students, families, and staff, disaggregated data to regulate audit of demographics, student demographic data, required EDI training, which we talked a little bit about this at the winter conference, implicit bias training, all staff to participate in such things, cultural responsiveness, tiered training, PD, so racial bias 101. So training, we are all in this learning journey at different places, right? Some people might be really, really new. Some people, this might be really threatening and intimidating. Some people might feel really, really comfortable. Some people might be really anxious for real change to happen. And so it's really rolling out training that would be really beneficial to meet the needs of that particular individual, right? That's the whole idea with equity. So why not do training that reflects equitable, prescriptive sort of training for the people that are needing, for all of us that are needing that. And then ensuring that the trainers have expertise. I think that sometimes we have really well-intentioned individuals. And something that happened in a conference that we attended in the summer, the CFE training in the summer. That was such a powerful training because the people there really knew what they were talking about. And there was so many, it was layered in a way that made sense for the group of people that we had. So the subgroups were really done in a way that created affinity groups, created space for trust and dialogue, that created space for shared experiences. And I think sometimes people with good intentions come in, provide trainings, but sometimes create more break down trust and relationships and end up inadvertently causing more harm. So ensuring that we have experienced trainers providing this sort of training to really cultivate trust, to cultivate this open candor when having conversations around equity, diversity, and inclusion. Diverse curriculum. I know that. Thank you, Tiffany. You work really hard to ensure that the curriculum is representative of a wide range of folks, and that's really, really helpful. Focus on staff, having affinity groups for staff, or having staff be supported. It can be really difficult. If you happen to have a particular experience or a particular identity, to go into the dominant culture and ask to be understood, especially when maybe we don't have that much of a diverse representation within the broader makeup of schools. Including, there's hope that we were really thoughtful and inclusive of IEPs in the equity pieces, right? This work is so layered. I guess I could go on and on and on, but there was a lot of great discussion, and I'm really grateful that there's a wider range of parents and staff from different schools that are participating in this. And that's that.
Extremely important work. Thank you so much. Do you have something to add? Okay, all right. Any questions or additional comments? Thank you so much, Nancy. And sort of relatedly, the next item on the agenda is OSBA conference debrief. Would anyone like to share anything about the conference for the benefit of the board?
I want to say how grateful I am for having that opportunity. And I really enjoyed the pre-session given by Kamal about it's centered around a long talk and how to be anti-racist. And it was such a motivating, and I just felt really impacted by what was shared there. I know that you were there, Michael, and also Sarah and Nancy, right? Nancy, yeah. It really looking around in my world and seeing how I can show up differently, and that really helped me. I felt like everybody always said before we went, that's my first time, and I felt like people said, "Oh, it's really great." I just really, each session that I went to was really rich, and there was a lot of takeaways for our own district, and I just felt like it was a great opportunity for us to experience and to see what others are doing, and to see how we're doing a lot of things in such a right way. And I was also grateful that we could be together to also celebrate our boys in their soccer game. It just so happened. I really would love to see them here. I was so proud of them and what they were able to accomplish up there. So that really was like, that was meant to be, actually. So and also Brandon Fleming, who was on the last day, was very good. I know Brent has talked about him. I really feel like we have a lot of work to do in our district in these areas, and I hope that we continue to be aware of those things and sit in those hard moments and move forward.
Anybody else?
I really appreciated the speakers, and I'm excited that we do have a budget for equity, for specific equity sort of um activities. I don't know, however we want to, well, maybe it's not however, but utilizing that particular funding in ways that really can support the equity work in our school district. And man, there's so many things that I want to say, but most importantly is this work is really hard. And I mean, I share that with a lot of people. Sorry if I'm not sorry that I'm repetitive in this. I think it's important to hear over and over again. And it's ever evolving. And the reason why I'm so motivated for this work, I mean, yes, there is a personal interest. Obviously, I'm a person of color, I'm a woman. But I know that there's so many spaces that there's so many voices that people are oftentimes maybe not as comfortable coming forth and bringing up issues because there's so much risk. So my hope is that we, by us increasing our awareness, and I think that there's really, really great intentioned individuals in this district, but sometimes because we don't have that experience, that awareness, that it makes us blind to certain circumstances, certain situations that people are going through. And it makes it really hard because these are the people that are truly caring for the kiddos in our district. So my hope is that we really, we can be thoughtful and creative about utilizing funds and allocating funds into this work because it is really valuable, right? It's the difference between somebody being able to succeed and somebody maybe barely pushing through, but why would we want that for anybody? So I'm grateful. I thought that the speakers were really, really wonderful. It was very helpful. And I'm glad that we get to go on this learning journey together.
Well, as usual, the OSBA National Committee, it doesn't disappoint. It's always, again, the keynote speakers. One of the takeaways is also just visiting with other school board members and hearing their experiences and learning from them what's happening in their districts. And one takeaway, I guess an action takeaway from who we shared a table with at the pre-conference was her board was going through the doing a book study together of the summer board conference community engagement speaker. And I thought that was a really good idea. And I'm not sure if that's something that this board would be interested in doing a book study and thinking something to learn more about, to grow together as a board, to learn together. I recognize this is a volunteer role and we all have things that we're doing. But I thought that was a great suggestion, and specifically on the community engagement piece, because we're hearing, staff is getting training and input from this trainer, right, from Scholastic, who came and presented to the board. So it felt like it seemed like it could be a good opportunity for the board to grow in our knowledge of how to connect with our community. And so that was one specifically that I thought of, but or that was presented and I thought was a great idea. So just wanted to throw that out there for consideration. After the holidays. After the
The third,
legislative
yeah.
session.
Yes. Rebecca?
Yeah, this was my first conference. Sorry. And I think I went to a lot of really good workshops. I learned a lot of things, and I learned that I knew a lot of things, which was also very interesting. And just grateful for the board that we have and the way that we do things, and it's just kind of amazing. Not trying to be, but we're better than no. we do a really good job. We're a really good board, and I really appreciated that learning experience.
Just very quickly, I came away with very practical and immediate tools that I have applied in my everyday life since, and which is pretty amazing. I think this was my 7th OSBA conference, and every time I come away with feeling inspired, learning something new. And so the pre-conference in interrupting racism, that is a very practical 3-step process you can do and doesn't have to be perfect. But when you see racism happening or hear it happening, that you can interrupt it and ask for some clarifications and make a difference. And Brandon Fleming, incredible, inspirational. This was a young man who, when he was a young man, was having a really tough time in life and had a really tough path to college, and was caught cheating on a paper. And it was his professor who, instead of, going down the path of discipline and consequences, really showed him love and compassion, and it really changed his whole life. And he's now doing incredible things for kids at Harvard University, and just inspirational. And so, the thing about these conferences is we come away inspired and motivated, and but over time just sort of floats away, right? We gain something from it and it makes us a better person, but then the question is, what do we do with it now? And so I know that in the couple weeks after the conference, there's been some discussion with some other neighboring districts about bringing Brandon Fleming to our area to speak to students or staff. And so I don't know if we've heard any more on that, or Brent, but
Yeah, so it was initially asked, kind of put out there by Grants Pass School District. And so I think we are looking at bringing him here in August. He'll actually be in person at Grants Pass, but have us, Rogue River and Phoenix Talent be able to live stream in, which will actually save us about $10,000. But so, which is always good. But there's also an opportunity. I know Tiffany spoke to DL Richardson on some opportunity about some summer Black Youth Summit conferences to be able to have bring him into as well. So he's on the radar of the region, which is great. I just want to kind of echo what Rebecca kind of mentioned a little bit about the board and having a courageous board and doing the right work and support a supportive board, because you even the last few conferences and definitely at OSBA as well, it is it's really evident that that's not the case everywhere. And so just appreciative of that.
I also went to a really interesting session on partnerships with organizations for pre-K and how school districts are doing their own pre-K throughout the state. And they're still gathering the data, but the goal is that kids are better equipped for learning by the time they get to kindergarten, and reading by 3rd grade, which has a tremendous impact on their outcomes going forward. So yeah, it was really, really informative, inspirational, and of course, just a pleasure to serve along all of you. And we greatly missed Rick and Dawn. So your absence was felt, definitely, but we tried to do you proud. So really, really good conference, and I'm looking forward to the next one. So thank you all. Did anyone else have anything to add? Don, you want to tell us about your experience that weekend? No, just kidding. Oh my gosh, poor thing. Oh, we missed you though. Yeah. Okay. Next item is the audit report. So it's interesting, there's things when you become chair, you learn certain things and you start to think, well, why do we do it this way? And can we do things a little differently? So, there is so much more that our auditors have to review nowadays with all of these special funds and all of these funding sources. And we have been operating under this self-imposed really deadline of having the audit report before us in December for the last however many years. I don't know if you remember, but in 2021, I believe, we actually had the report in January because it was kind of the first year of all those additional reports. So in working with Denise and Brent, our auditors were feeling extremely under the gun to get everything done in time to present to us and meet with the audit committee. And then, and so I started asking some questions like, well, how did we get to this December timeframe? And can we push this back a little bit? And there's no statute or anything that says we have to have the audit report before us by a certain time. And so the plan at this point is they are going to meet with the audit committee on the 19th, and then we'll present to the board in, what did we decide, January or February? February, okay. It says that somewhere? Oh, I'm glad you guys are reading. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm glad you're reading your packets. So so we'll that's the plan for now, and if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask away. But we want our auditors to have time to be thorough and get it right and not be under the gun. And so as long as everything goes smoothly this year, we might adopt that time frame going forward and just sort of push it back a month or two to give them time to do everything. And it's a lot of stressors on Yasmin and our own internal department too. That's the plan. So we'll get that audit report before us in February. So any questions, especially from anyone on the board who's a CPA? Okay. All right. And then next meeting's agenda is there for your review. I will not be here. I'll be out of town on business. But we have an extremely capable person who will run the meeting that night. So if you have any questions or concerns or suggestions for the next agenda, please let me know or Don know. And that's it. We are adjourned.